Let's welcome Shaniqua of Pearl Salon Suites. And I just want to say, how are you? Like, I know we just talked a little bit, but how are you feeling overall?
Overall, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Yes. Just managing it all, juggling, everything, but overall, I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. All right. So I'm going to ask a couple questions. So the first question I'm going to ask is, we all have a unique path in this journey of entrepreneurship, right? And I just want to hear your journey of getting into the beauty industry and then also what drew you into having your own salon suite.
Awesome. So first, thank you for having me. Um, so I have been a licensed cosmetologist for actually this year makes March made 20 years. I graduated, yeah, cosmetology school in 2004 back in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm currently residing in Atlanta, Georgia. And so my journey for the beauty industry kind of happened real, kind of interestingly enough because it was always something I did on the side initially. Um, I think that like most people who were kitchen beauticians, I was definitely one of those before I actually stepped out and got my cosmetology license. But just the beauty industry always was something that I was fascinated with. I love the ability to change, to look different. But I think also the direct connection about how it made you feel.
Yeah.
We had a salon, and my salon name was called Inner Beauty. And so I think that, that captured exactly kind of how I felt. You can see the instant transformation of a person from when they come into the chair to when you finish their hair, how they glow and they light up and their inner beauty shines. So that's always been, a thing for me. And so outside of getting my degree and going to college, I still transitioned right back to being a full-time stylist. And like I said, I did that for 20 years. And then I began to embark on my journey to open up salon suites. And even that journey was, pretty interesting as well because I started to notice the industry changing. A lot of the stylists that were becoming a part of our team also were seeking like their independence. They had a way that they wanted to do things, their style, their energy. And it was really hard to get people to buy into your salon culture that you were trying to cultivate, right? You understand,
I
right?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just started to notice a little bit more resistance. Like there wasn't as much camaraderie that was happening or being a part of a team. And not that it didn't exist, but it's just over time, it started to see few in between people who were really interested in that type of model. And so I would like to say, just transitioning to the salon suite model, timing wise, really worked.
And how, like, when was your first opening? What year did you open your first salon suite?
Opened in 2016, so this year marks 8 years that we've been actually open.
Congrats. That's a
Thank
long
you.
time. 20 years in the beauty industry is a long time. 8 years salon suites. Kudos to you. Give you your flowers.
Thank you.
All
Thank you.
right. So your salon suites, they're thriving clearly, right? So can you share your story behind the number of locations you have today and what are specific milestones or challenges you face reaching this number?
So we currently have, let me see, we have 7 open locations. 4 of them I own, and we have 3 franchisees that have opened salon suites, and then we have 2 other franchisees that are kind of coming down the pipeline. Where they've signed and now one has secured a location and other person is still doing some negotiation. So it'll be really a total of 9 locations, but 7 that are actually open. Yeah. So
I love that.
yeah, it's growing really fast. I think, with the model, once you've reached capacity in order for you to generate more income, excuse me, you have to pretty much open up more locations. And so we've gotten people who express interest in our business model. And 2 years ago, is when we actually decided to franchise, or we were actually franchised. And so since then, we've been able to add 5 additional people, to our team that are franchisees, which says a lot, and I think as you talk about milestones, one of those for me, I think one to think about franchising was not part of my plan or vision. It was something that a customer planted. And she was just like, you should franchise. And when you do, I want to buy one. It was kind of what she said.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she was like, and here's someone's contact information that will help you. It was
Yeah.
just like that. And I was like, so it made me think like, wow, I guess I could. What does that look like? How do you do that? Is it hard? All of the things, and it kind of scary because it's new territory for you. But
Yeah.
that was kind of like how I even decided, to franchise. And then I was like grateful to get the first one and then look up and everyone's interested. And I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Something I could do. I think too, like being this train is gonna go by. But
You
let's
can't
let it
hear
go by.
anything.
You
No,
can't
you
hear it? Okay.
can't.
So being a service provider, I was a service provider for a long time as well. And thinking of the bigger picture or thinking big, sometimes we forget about that because we're so used to just being behind the chairs, servicing our clients. Like, okay, we have a salon suite, maybe you have two, but like, whoa, like that's big.
It was.
Yeah.
Because even during the process of opening and operating my salon suite, I still was a stylist behind the chair. Like I had a storefront, and then I purchased my first property, and that property wound up being my salon suite. So I took up, a space inside of the salon suite to operate my salon. And so I was a full-time stylist behind the chair while trying to grow my salon suite business. And it wasn't until actually during COVID that I decided to kind of transition out, from behind the chair and just to manage. But at that point, it had already been 3 years, of operating the business and then deciding like I'm going to transition out. And the business was able to sustain itself. I think that's the other piece. Sometimes people move a little too fast and they want to quit their job and just go. And it's like you have to make sure that you can understand the ebb and flows of the business, how it works, and making sure there's consistency that you can kind of step away comfortably without feeling like you have to backtrack.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely hands up. One's like, I'm gonna quit my job and I'll figure it out. That is me.
It
Don't
can get like
don't,
that
don't follow my footsteps.
sometimes. It can be done. It's just maybe a little bit more complicated. It's a
It's gonna
little,
be a lot
you
more
can do
complicated.
it. Yes, you can do it still.
It's gonna be a lot. Go this way because my way is gonna it's the harder way. It's the harder way. But wow, 2 years being a franchise. So of course you just elaborate a little bit on the factor. So your client would put that little bug in your ear and she's like, you could do this, girl. And matter of fact, I'll make it a lot easier for you. I'll purchase the first one. Like
Yes, she was ready.
I love that because I always say to people, like, stop giving me like solutions, to a problem, and then you're not ready to like help out with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Right.
That was awesome. I gave you a solution to
Right.
think big, and I'm gonna help you out.
Yes, yes.
Who's this client? Okay, I love that. Um, so all right, so we talked a little bit about that. So what are your like hopes and expectations for this new chapter? Just it's 2 years, so it's still like baby phase, right? Like you're still learning the ropes, right? Like
I am still learning this. Yeah, it's definitely it's been a learning curve. I think that doing it and growing the business, a lot of stuff is in here, and so instantly what to do. So to translate that into be a teacher, now you're leading, yes, you have things in writing and there's, you have your model, but I think that you can put something together, but then when you start to use it, you realize, this is actually not as user friendly, or hey, this would be more helpful if we tweak
yeah.
this. And so I'm in that stage right now. Like my goal at this current moment, for at least for this year, for the rest of this year, because this year has gone by super fast.
Oh my God. I'm like, I accomplished nothing. That's how I felt.
Like, what is happening? May
Yeah.
already, my goodness. So for the rest of the year, for the latter
Yeah.
half, the goal is really to just fine tune. I don't know about wanting to take on any more franchisees at this very moment. I think I want to make sure that the people who are already on my team have the maximum amount of support, that they are maxed out and fully occupied, that we can tweak and get as much feedback as possible to make the thing better. We just want to make sure that it was about the quality and not so much about the quantity, because you can grow too fast and then you don't have a great product, and then you lose the people who were supporting you, to somebody else who maybe took their time. So for me, I think the quality is the biggest piece. Maybe we'll revisit that at the top of the year. But like I said, because the role is a new role for me, there are some things that I personally am not satisfied with. And so I just feel like I would like for it to be a little bit better, for the people who have invested in me, because I don't take that lightly. You could have taken your money, it's a lot of money, and you could have
Yeah.
taken that money and done something else. And the fact that you chose to be a part of the Pearl Savon Suites team, the vision, and buy into something that I've built, I want to make sure, one, that you're getting your money's worth, and that it's of good quality, and that the brand consistency is the same across the board, so that people are not feeling like they're skimped out on quality.
Yeah, I like that. When we're kind of going through that same stage with Spability.
Mm.
And because before I'm just like, when you're raising capital, everyone's like users, 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 right? Like, so for me, I have to like talk to my users like, hey, like we're still so new, we're still learning. So how are those conversations with your franchisees, right? It's franchisees, I'm saying it right.
Mhm. Yes, yes,
That,
yes, yes.
yeah, like that they know that we're growing together. Like,
Yeah.
are those tough conversations? Do you feel like they are? Or
No, they're not tough, because I think that once you're humble and you're transparent, I think people respect that more than you just trying to pretend like you have it all together. You own any type of ball that you have dropped. You say, "Hey guys, I dropped the ball on that. We could have done that better." And I also ask for feedback. I check in throughout the process, because then that gives them the opportunity to share and let them know that I am open,
yeah,
and that their feedback is important to me. So across the board, like, hey, just checking in to see how's everything going. Is there anything that you feel like, that you're missing, or you feel a little bit uncomfortable? Do you have any questions? No questions is a silly question. Reach me anytime, just that type of thing, to just reassure them and make them feel comfortable. So then that way I can support them the best way I can. I'm a very hands-on kind of person. So I might be, I think overall, in longevity wise, that's not going to be sustainable. I'm not going to be able to have my hands in everything. So I have to think about building this in a way that, if I removed myself, what does this look like? Which is really tough to do,
yeah,
because I think some people bought in because of me. And so how do you shift that and let them still feel like you're there and your presence is still there without you being there? Um,
yeah,
so I think that's probably going to be the toughest part as we grow, because I'm passionate and I love, like to help and to see people grow and to succeed. So, I'm just trying to figure out what that balance is, that it will make it, like, again, sustainable, because I'm only one person. So yeah, I think, just like I said, just the transparency, checking in, asking for suggestions, lets them have buy-in,
yeah.
to what they're paying for.
Yeah, that's really good because again, right? 2 years is not that long. Again, look at this year. It went by so quick. It's going by so quick. And as much as we want to grow, you want to grow and be sustainable long term. You don't want to like have to now close down and spend the time to now close down, because that takes time and money and energy, because you didn't do, what you're supposed to do in the beginning, or just slow it down, right? Just slow it down. All right. So next question. I mean, there was a question in that question, but next major question.
Yeah.
All right, the future of salon suites. The beauty industry is constantly evolving. The booth rentals, salon suites. I think I saw there's like another name. is it beauty studios? I think it was. Is that it?
I've seen the name studio kind of being.
Yeah, like people are changing up the names.
Mhm.
So what are your thoughts of the future of the salon suite industry? And do you see any upcoming trends coming? Let me know.
So I think two things. I think that we are going to see probably a little bit more of an influx, more than now than with salon suites. But I do think at some point we're going to plateau, and I do think that people are going to transition back to some of the traditional salon settings, because I don't know that everyone's enjoying isolation. Salon suites is not for everyone, and I think that everyone goes through like different seasons within their career. You work for a team, maybe you were hourly commission, and then you transition to booth rental, but still in the open space. Now you want to do your own thing. You either opened up your own salon that you managed, or you opened up, you're rented in a salon suite, but you miss the camaraderie, of other people, and you don't want to be isolated, or you don't feel like you're growing as much because you don't get to see what your other counterparts are doing as far as styles and innovation and things like that. So I think that between that and COVID made things real interesting. It just made things really shift. So I can definitely see, at some point, there being either a hybrid of some sort where there are suites and open floor concept salon suites. I can definitely see that being, a great happy medium for those who want to be out on the floor, maybe still need to grow a little bit more before they can go into a salon suite, or don't prefer the isolation, but then still can be in both. And I think whoever's the owner, that would probably be a great way to kind of cater to do, to both populations without skimping on either or. So that's kind of my opinion. I think, again, a lot of people are opening up salon suites really fast and are not really thinking through all
Mhm.
of the details and the things, and so you get
Yeah.
people who are not as successful with that because they think it's simple and easy, but not really putting in the work or the time, to understand what it takes to manage it, or the details that are required, especially during the build out process.
Yeah. So what came to my mind was when you were just speaking is I don't know if they still have this, but I remember like back in the day, I used to see all the time like rent to buy like apartments or like I mean not apartments, but like a house, or kind of
Uh-huh.
you rent and then to buy. So it kind of reminds me of like that model of like that hybrid of just like, you know, just from what you just mentioned in the beginning of when you had your salon, it was tough to keep people because they already had in their mind they wanted to like start their own business. And that was the same thing for me where I was losing girls. They started their own business. And at one point, I'm like, whoa, I got to become a beauty landlord because I'm not going
Right.
to have a business, like I had to pivot.
You have to pivot.
You had to pivot. And, but if your business model is already a part of that pivot of the either employee of hourly or whatever that is, and then to
Mhm.
commission, and then to salon suite, strictly rental. If you have that all in place and then you give them like the
Option.
stylist an option and that timeline, like, hey, you have to reach this quota, you have to reach this milestone, you have to reach this, and that's already part of your business model. Maybe that's an idea. I
Yeah.
mean, but I just put it out there. If anybody wants to take
If
it,
everybody
go
wants to take
ahead.
it. There you go. Right.
If anybody
Got a
wants to,
freebie. Got a freebie.
yeah, you got a freebie right there. But that's what I was thinking. I never thought about it, but like that rent to buy the model might
Mhm.
work for this
Yeah.
industry. That's good. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just different. A lot of people who come from the kind of old school background of, the traditional salon model and setting, we are getting to a place where we're ready to transition out. There's
yeah.
only but so many more of those people. And now they're doing all this deregulations around cosmetology license and all of that stuff. That's a whole nother conversation,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
you in Atlanta. So
Right. What are you doing?
yes, I don't
But
understand it.
I'm not going to touch that. We're not going to touch.
Yeah.
No, we're not going there.
Yeah,
But
I go
I'm
there.
saying, with the changes, I think over time, at some point, just like baby boomers, they're going to come out, they're going to retire, and there's going to leave room for this new group of people. And I think just, I think people who are there's two things I think can happen from the school setting, putting schools and cosmetology schools in place, that you are creating these new stylists, that are keeping up with, their education, their quality of work, and not to take away from anyone who has not, but I think that there's a place there. And then kind of on the other spectrum of people managing people is a lot, and I think that that was the other part. You have booth renters, but why is that not the same as suite renters? Outside of the sharing the space, it is the same business model. It just looks a tad bit different. And so I just think, there are some people they do not like the salon suite model,
Yeah.
and that's okay. Again, there's something for everyone.
It's so crazy. I'm that person. I did not like it for many years. I was like, this is terrible. And now I
Mhm.
have business around it.
Right. I mean, but you had to pivot. You had to
Yeah,
pivot.
you had to
You
pivot.
can't get people to stay into your space. But I think there's also this awakening of ownership and entrepreneurship, that people are like, this is for the birds. I don't like this. They get in and they think that it's, oh, I'm about to be my own boss. And there are
Yeah,
perks to it, but it's a lot of work,
yeah,
and you may miss someone else washing your towels and going to get the products, and you just
yeah,
go to the back bar, and the back bar is there. You don't have to,
yeah. Or
you know,
just the education that like some of them, I managed a medical spa in New York, or a few back in the day, and we provided education for the staff,
Mhm.
and they didn't have to pay for that.
Right.
The
And then technically they paid for it. If they were commissioned, it was just part of,
Yeah, well, no, they weren't commissioned. They weren't
oh,
commissioned. Yeah.
okay,
So everyone was on hourly.
okay.
And we paid for the education, so again, if that's that type of space that you're in,
Hmm.
you can have that as well. But and another thing too, you can be a hybrid entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? Like on the weekends or
Hmm.
at nights, and you work for someone during the day. Like you don't it doesn't have to be full time. Like I
Yeah.
think you could just say like you could still be your own little boss, and it could be just like 1 or 2 days a week, and that you're just trying it out. And if it grows, it grows. If you like it, you like it. If not, you're still working. And the thing about the beauty industry, people come to see you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Regardless, I say this all the time. They come to see you. They don't come for the space, they come because they like the way you service them. They like the way that your hair looks, your lashes look, your whatever it is, your tattoo look
Right.
when they leave. So, yeah, it could be anywhere. But all right. So last wait, that I don't think I actually we were just talking, so I'm like, did I actually this one my train of thought is I gotta start checking them. I'll check. All right. So as being a successful beauty landlord, what is a gem that you would like to leave with our viewers?
So I think for the tenant viewers, and then I'll leave one for the owner viewers because
Okay.
I don't know who's viewing. So leave something for everybody.
Okay.
I will say, um, for our tenant viewers, just to make sure that, I'm all for taking risk and betting on yourself. But when you do that, be strategic about your moves, vet the spaces, that you want to lease from, be clear about what they offer, what the terms are. Please read your leases, read your lease, read your lease, read your lease. Okay, guys?
Read your lease.
Read your lease, because there's a lot of things in there that you sign up for, and then things happen, life happens, and you want to
Yeah.
change, and then you're like, what, so just be clear about those types of things, those details. Save your money, and make sure you have some funds aside, because again, with entrepreneurship, things do happen, things come up, life happens, and so you just want to be in a position where it's not a fly by night type of scenario, but you take it seriously, especially if you're full time
Yeah.
in the industry, that you plan for your vacations, you plan for maternity leave, you plan for all of the things, because you are the boss, and rent still has to be paid, life still has to continue to go on. So just position yourself and just think about those long-term things. I think on the owner side, I think it would still be equally the same about just the planning, either finding a mentor to help you. Anytime someone can tell you it can happen quick and fast, you run because it is not a quick and fast process. Pay attention to the details. Um, and, again, securing funding is another piece, being able to like secure funds so that you can um, build out your space and you don't have any gaps in your process when you are doing your salon suites. And I think that would probably be the biggest things that I would say my takeaway or gems I would share.
They're good. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." So you're good. But thank you. This was amazing. Where can people find you? What are your
So you guys can find me personally at shaniqua.garcia on Instagram. And then you can learn more about our salon suite at Pearl Salon Suites on IG or pearlsalonsuites.com. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for viewing and tuning in.
Yeah, you just ended it for me. There you go. Whatever she just said, thank you.